Hello and welcome to Diecast Restos. I'm Jason, and this week I've been working at restoring this Lesney Matchbox No. 25C Petrol Tanker. Someone has gone to town on this. It would usually carry a nice bright BP livery of a yellow cab, green chassis and white tank. Perhaps they preferred a camo look instead. Of the various examples of these that I've seen come and go over the years in a wide array of conditions, this is the only one to still have its plastic interior piece. Those are so often found missing, and you'll see why shortly. For this restoration, I've picked up the reproduction BP decals from Steve Flowers Model Supplies. The tank onto which they fit is the only riveted on piece of this model. The tilting cab is hinged using an axle that slides through an opening in the bottom of the cabin and at the front end of the chassis. The elusive interior plastic piece desperately clings onto this very same axle. It's easy to see why they are prone to vanishing. Admittedly, it does take a bit of force to remove this one though. It reveals a detailed cast engine beneath the cabin. However, and this is a big issue for me, Bedford TK's never had a tilting cab.
Really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Great execution, but off the mark in terms of accuracy. I'm sure a lot of people thought that Bedford TK's had a tilting cab purely because of this casting. It was introduced in 1964 as a replacement for the 25B Volkswagen Beetle. Not all castings were painted in the BP colours of yellow, white and green though. A version with a blue cabin chassis with a white tank and A-rail decals was produced for the European market. The German fuel company featured on the model later in the run, and genuine models can fetch quite high values. Not as high as a grey plastic wheeled BP truck though. This rare run fetches upwards of £800 a pop. The majority of these models just had the regular black plastic wheels fitted, 45 notches to them to be precise. Silver trim was gifted to the early BP examples on the grille, headlights and front bumper. By the time the A-rail version arrived, this trim had disappeared and most BP models are missing it. While the base featured the cast wording Petrol Tanker, boxes stated BP Tanker or A-rail Tankwagen for the A-rail type. The larger A-rail decals covered over the cast guidelines for the factory workers for the BP crest decal placement, and it's easy to see these protruding through the markings on the Euro models. The 25C was a popular model and ran until 1968 when it was replaced by the 25D Ford Cortina. Production of the real TK far outlasted the model. It launched in 1960 to replace the then 10-year-old S-Type. The commercial arm of Vauxhall offered the TK with either inline 4 or inline 6 petrol or diesel engines, supplied by Leyland, Perkins or Bedford themselves. The cab was mounted atop the engine, allowing Bedford to maximise cargo space. It was available in either rigid form or as a light tractor unit, similar to that seen in my fairly recent Major Pack Bedford build. When the TK was 10 years old in 1970, it was finally adopted as a replacement for the British Army's Bedford S-Type based RL. These had been built since 1953. The military variant was called the MK and over 50,000 were produced. Its designation changed to MJ in 1981 to reflect the K multi-fuel engine being superseded by the J diesel engine. It was in this year that the Red series of 3.6 and 5.4 litre diesel engines were turbocharged. These now produced 72 and 102 brake horsepower respectively. The TK had been scheduled to be replaced by the new TL in 1981, but production continued under Bedford's stewardship for a further 5 years due to its cheaper production costs and sale point. Having been produced in Australia, New Zealand, Turkey and Bedford's Dunstable plant, the latter was sold to AWD trucks in 1987. The Bedford mark was retired. Under AWD, TK production restarted, but due to cheaper competition, AWD would enter receivership in 1992. UK TK production ended that year, but Turkish production continued until 1994. MK-MJ military variants were used by the British Army until as late as 2014, when it was confirmed all TKs had been replaced. But back to the build as I apply the first coats of individual colour to the three main pieces of the model. I really like this park green, and I have few opportunities to use it. I expect it will look even better alongside the yellow and white of the cab and tanker respectively. Each part is clear coated. The tank gets its layer now, as the model supplies decals have reacted badly to clear coats for me in the past, so I play it safe. Once the wheels have been reattached to the axles, the ends are enhanced with a spot of Molotow chrome. Hanging the cab upside down off its axle holes proved to be a mistake. The Tamiya yellow needs no invitation to pull, as it did just that on the roof. I had to strip it back and go at it again with a different approach. Some blue tack attached to a disposable pen, propped up by a clamp. After a few coats the right way up, the cab is looking far better, so I detail it with a dash of Molotow. Similar to the wheel axles, the cab hinge needs the end reforming to hold it in the right place. Once it's secure, I refit the cleaned up interior plastic. Here's a reminder as to how the 25C petrol tanker looked before I got to work. The paintwork was in a sorry state on this chosen example, picked out because of the presence of its so often missing interior piece. Someone had really gone to town on concealing its original BP green, white and yellow livery. But I love these overpaints, as they always make the transition look all the more satisfying. Speaking of, let's see that transition now. My model has turned a much fresher trio of green, white and yellow from its previous drab look. I gifted the front end the full complement of early example trim and fitted these excellent reproduction decals. I had to clean the paint from the plastic wheels and interior, and the whole thing is now much more vibrant. It looks like the before and after of an oil spill cleanup, something BP wouldn't know anything about. I think my yellow might be a touch too dark, but what do you think? Let me know your thoughts on the restoration down in the comments, and leave a like if you enjoyed the build. Join the membership program through YouTube or on Patreon to help support the channel and have your name in lights at the end of the videos. Every contribution goes towards making these videos better and better. But all that leaves me to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.